This is Umar Ahmed for IFL TV in association with MTK Global. It is fight week. Frank Warren has a double header. So you must be excited about this week, Frank. How are you?
I'm okay. I'm okay, thanks, mate. Yeah, I'm very excited. It's nice to get back into the swing. We've got a nice couple of days boxing with our youngsters, ending our financial year on it, and I'm delighted with what we've got on. It's a shame that Ennis Brown was injured. I'm really gutted for Sam, but we've got him. I think he's got an 8-rounder on the card still. At least we keep him busy, and we'll reschedule that fight as soon as we can.
Yes, bit of bad luck again. Obviously, we had some with Chris Jenkins, and now we've got some with Akeem Ennis Brown. So, what was the injury, Frank, and how long do you think it will take to reschedule that fight?
I'm not sure. I can't remember what he's got, but we get it in as soon as he's fit the box. As soon as he gets a clearance, we'll get it back on.
But it's good that you got Sam still a fight, because he's obviously put in that hard work for our camp.
Yeah,
didn't fight, that would be a massive shame.
It would be, and he's a lovely fella, and he deserves it. Also, at least he can get the vent his disappointment in the ring and get all that tension out of him. So it'd be good. And then to say we'll get it back on. In the meantime, now we've still got 2 good shows on there, some really good youngsters. And there's some exciting fights there. I'm looking forward to a couple of them.
Let's talk about someone you're very high on, Willie Hutchinson. What do you think we're going to see from him against Alex Clark?
Look, he's got a tough fight there. On paper, it's a very, very tough fight. But I really do rate him. I mean, I really rate him, and I think he's an exceptional prospect. And I think that he comes through this fight. If he does what I hope he'll do, I think he'll set himself up for some really big fights this year. He is an extraordinarily good talent, and I look at and he obviously looks fitter now. Now he's settled down, because we were a little bit unsure whether he was going to be a light heavy or a super middleweight, but he's settled down now. And I was looking at some of the photographs of him that they sent over. I mean, he looks cut. When you think of looking at his last fight in the ring, the shape of his body and the definition he's got there, he's obviously working very hard in the gym. So I hope all that hard work and that endeavour puts a sparkling performance on. It gives him a sparkling performance on Saturday.
Frank, in terms of the question I'm going to ask, it's probably fair to say we're going to learn more after Saturday when he fights Alex Clark. But how far do you think away Willie is from European and world level?
Look, if he comes through this fight and does the business on Saturday, he won't be far off of a European. And I'd hope that within the next year he'll be up for a world title shot.
Okay.
But he's got to get through this one. This is the acid test for him. This is the one. This is the one. This is the big test for him.
Definitely. We see Brad Foster is obviously back in action this weekend. Another fantastic fighter of yours. What happened with the purse bids with Gamal Yafai, Frank?
He pulled out. He pulled out the purse bids.
Okay.
So that was what happened. So Brad will fight whoever else is around. But do you know what? He's gone under the radar a bit, Brad. When you look what he's done, the amount of amateur experience he's had, which is negligible. He fought as an MMA. Was it MMA he was fighting before that? And to win a Lonsdale belt and a Commonwealth belt, I mean, that's a bit of a feat in itself. And he seems to have just gone under the radar. And I hope Saturday, he comes through and looks good, and people start acknowledging him for what a good fighter he is.
I guess another one who's not very far away from European and maybe even world level.
Correct. Absolutely right. Absolutely right.
Mr. Nathan Gorman returns after his win over Richard Lartey last time out. Do you think we'll see a slightly sharper, more on it Nathan Gorman this time?
Well, look, I thought he boxed extremely well. I was a little bit disappointed he was still a bit fleshy, and he acknowledged that himself, Nathan. Nathan, I hope, will come in lighter. He's got a tremendous boxing brain, and I hope he comes in. I hope he does the business, and we can get him in a big fight this year, because that's what the objective is, and it's what he wants.
Yeah, of course, we know the route that Joe Joyce is taking. So you said that Dubois is returning, and you want to get him back right into that mix where he belongs. But what's the plans with Nathan Gorman, you think, moving forward?
I want to get him in a big fight. I want to get him into some significant fight this year. Absolutely, that's what he wants. By the way, he's looking for it. I just want to see more, and I think that'd be good for him to do that. But he's got that natural inbuilt fitness. Sometimes you see guys a little bit fleshy, but they've still got it there. You haven't got to be carved out of marble. but sometimes you are carrying a bit of excess weight, and that can give you even a better performance. And I think Nathan knows that himself. And he done an extremely good job against Larty. And as I say, I think this weekend we'll see another good performance from him.
Talking about heavyweights, of course, David Adeleye is someone who's been quite vocal about Nathan Gorman, saying if that fight's on the table, I'll take it. However, I think it's fair to say they are at different stages of their career. And whenever you ask Nathan about it, he kind of downplays it, understandably so. I mean, what do you make of David calling for these fights already?
Look, it's admirable that he does that, and it shows you what ambition he has. But he's got a way to go yet. He's a novice at the moment, as a professional boxer, but he's done extremely well, and it's a learning curve for him. And he's got a decent fight on. He's got another decent fight for himself on Saturday. He comes through that. Maybe by the end of the year, who knows, early next year, then we can look at that. But what's he had now? 5 fights, I think.
This is his 5th on the weekend.
5th fight. Well, there you go. It's his 5th fight. He needs another 4 or 5 fights before we even start thinking about that. And I'm not having dismissing, his ambition, because remember, he's been sparring with everybody. Yeah. In camps, he was Tyson's mate, one of Tyson Fury's main sparring partners for his last fight. He's been sparring, I know, with Anthony Joshua and various other, good quality heavyweights. So he's no slouch. That's good for him to be working with those guys and feeling good about himself. But we have to temper that, and let him get a bit more experience in the ring before we step him right up.
I know he's a link up with Frank Greaves, who's a very good trainer, knowledgeable in the sport. He's going well. That one's gone slightly under the radar, hasn't it? That link up between Adeleye and Frank Greaves. Yeah,
I don't know why. Frank's. I've got a lot of time for Frank Greaves. I think he's an excellent young trainer, and I think him and David is a good tie-up. And we'll, the proof will be in the pudding, because I'm quite sure with him, he will bloom, and I think he'll bring the best out of him.
Well, I can't talk to you about the cards this weekend and not mention a certain Dennis McCann. TV rating, social media numbers, whenever he's on the screen, goes through the roof, and we can see why. He's such an exciting fighter.
Well, he is, and I've said that from day one. As an amateur, he was an exciting fighter. He had about 17 or 18 consecutive knockouts before he turned pro, and he is. And what I like about him is his attitude. He's got a fantastic attitude. He's in the gym. He's working all the time. He wants it. He wants it. He wants it so badly, and for me, that makes me want to deliver the big fights for him. He's not far off of fighting for a title now. I think in the next couple of fights, we'll definitely get a title fight for him. He's an exceptional young prodigy, exceptional talent, and it's a joy to work with.
Well, you mentioned titles there. He has been ordered by the board to fight for the English versus Liam Davies. Do you think he's ready for the English, Frank?
Yeah, we look at that. I mean, I want to get this one out of the way, but absolutely, I don't think that's going to be a problem. Look, at Queensbury, where we are, we love working with youngsters. We love bringing on and developing their careers, and it's an absolute joy to be working with Dennis.
Just lost you there, Frank. Oh, they're back.
Yeah, sorry, mate. It's got his come back on. Bloody bad link.
Well, that gave me time to remember there's someone else we should talk about making his Queensbury debut. Cruiserweight's obviously a big theme at the moment with Lawrence Coley's brilliant world title win, and he's very good mates with Lawrence. I'm talking about Stephen Denton here, who gets on the card this weekend. It'll be interesting to see what Stephen produces.
Well, it will be. Certainly, I've seen his show reel of some of the amateur fights, and he's a big puncher, so it's going to be exciting, whatever happens. And by the way, before we go on, great result for Lawrence. He done extremely well. I thought that was well, good for him, and well done him. That was good. But getting back to our man, I'm pleased with him. He's with us, and he's not a youngster as far as boxing is concerned. But I think we're going to get some good nights out of him, and he's got tremendous ambition. When I spoke with him, when I met with him, I liked his attitude, and I think that we can move him fairly quickly.
Okay. Well, yeah, as I said, mates and with a Cody and sparred him lots of times, and I know Lawrence rates him highly as well. So tune in to BT Sport this weekend to see all those fighters in action. Frank, let's talk about some signings you made. Well, you made quite a few. You You're signing up the whole Franken family.
They're all living here with me. Yeah. No, we signed them up, and I'm delighted. I'm delighted. Look, I when I was a young man, in my younger days, sorry, we got cut off again there. In my younger days, I was lucky enough to watch their uncle box, and he was Johnny Franken was a really, I mean, he's stylish and good boxer. Unfortunately, he didn't live the life. He got by on talent most of the time, but he was, in the ring, he had tremendous skills. And that's like he's saying, this boxing's all about, we see a lot of talented fighters, but it's not just about the talent, it's also having the dedication. And I know these three young Frankens are all very, very dedicated, as well as very talented. And so I'm really looking forward to working with the two new guys. And I think we're going to have some good nights with them. And I do think if they have that attitude, keep that attitude of being in the gym, working hard, I really do believe they'll come through and go on to some big and better things.
Yeah, of course, you already have Josh Franken, who's had a couple of fights under yourself, and I'm sure he'll be back out soon. You've signed Levi Franken and Charles Franken. Now, a lot of people will know Charles Franken, obviously, had a fair few fights on Sky Sports, etc., but then had a massive time out the ring. You must have spoken to him about that, Frank. What happened there? How comes he's returned now?
Well, he's returned because he wanted, he's returned because he's got the appetite to fight. He's got the appetite to fight, and he wants to do that with us. He's seen what we've done with Josh, and he likes the way the way we've treated Josh and so forth, and that's why he's come over, as has Levi. So we're, as I say, we're very delighted with the three of them. It's a bit of a compliment, to get the three of them on board. I'm very pleased about that. And
your other two signings that are referred to are both heavyweights. So Croatian Peter Milas, talk to me about that one.
Yeah, we've done. My son France is involved with him, and we've done a deal with him, and I'm looking forward to. I think he's 13 or 14-0, and I'm looking forward to working with him. He's a great addition, and we've got some heavyweights on the books, so hopefully we can get some matches between these guys.
Definitely. And the other one, I don't want to get his pronunciation wrong, Zan Kosabutski. Am I close there?
That's the one. Yeah. So we've got a joint. That's a joint thing, Universal, and I'm again very, very, really looking forward to working with him as well. He's got a very good record, and he'll be involved in some really big fights. There's no doubt about
that. Okay. Frank, obviously there is a heavyweight fight on this weekend. I would like to get your thoughts on it. I spoke to you about it last time between Povetkin and Whyte before the first fight. What do you think happens in the rematch, Frank? How do you see it going?
Well, I think what's going to benefit Dillian is the fact that the fight's been pushed back for various reasons, and I think that does him a favour, because going straight back into a rematch, which they were going to do 8-10 weeks after the event, that wouldn't have done him any favours. That was a bad knockout that he had. It's really, how has COVID affected Povetkin? He caught COVID, didn't he? So How has it affected him? And it's the last, and I speak from, I know I'm much older than him, but I speak from experience. It's not something that just leaves your system like that. It's it's in you. So hopefully, he's over that now. And if he is over it, then I think Dillian's going to have a tough night, because I think that he knows that he knows he's got the power to knock him over, and I wouldn't be surprised if the same thing happened again. Having said that, Dillian's he's a competitor. He comes to fight, and he's going to have to put it right on him. He's going to have to really, really try and get Povetkin in a position where hopefully he runs out of gas as far as he's concerned. But I think Povetkin now, he's probably got his measure. That was a big shot that he caught him with, a big shot. So what's he going to do? Is he going to trade with him, or is he going to stand off him? For me, he's got to outwork him. He's got to really make every round like it's the last round, and just try and wear him down. And then if he does that, he might get through it. But I do favour Povetkin to do the same thing again.
Okay. Frank, have you got any heavyweight updates for me? Have you heard back from Team Usyk?
No, we're still talking, and that's where we are at the moment, mate. So there's no update on that at all.
And Fury Joshua still working towards a site and a date?
Well, all that I know is that we talked last week. It's funny, somebody in the office, they sent me some of these comments were made about me being negative and whatever, and you know, and I'm saying how hard it is going to be to get this fight on, you know, to get the venue sorted out very quickly, which we're all trying to do. But you see what the government have done today, and as I keep saying, it changes on a daily basis. Now you can't travel. It's a £5,000 fine if you travel. That's what you're up against. So all these smart alecks who keep saying, "Oh yeah, you're being evasive." I'm not being evasive. That's the situation we're in. Every day something changes. Of course we want to get the fight on. That's what everybody signed up to. We've all working hard to get the fight on. You know, we got a call this afternoon with some people we're talking to about it, but I wouldn't give you any information anyway, unless everybody who signed to the agreement agrees with a statement. I'm not going to be doing that, but that's what we're all working towards, trying to make it happen. It's not being negative. We're being as positive we can in a very negative situation.
Yeah, I think that's totally understandable, that one. So there was some back and forth between Keeman and Garco and Idris Virgo. Did you happen to catch wind of that?
I heard about that this morning. Yeah, that's interesting, isn't it? That's one to be looking at. Yeah, he's a good fighter. He's done well. I'll tell you what, the last few fights, he's looked exceptionally well.
Well, yeah, I mean, Idris was saying to Keeman that tell Frank, get this fight on, give me a ring, and another Francis got involved as well. Do you think that's a realistic fight, that one, him and Idris?
I think that's something we should seriously consider.
Okay, all right. Frank, so we talked about Chris Eubank Jr. a lot, you know, when he was making comments about Liam Williams and Kell Brook potentially being tune-up fights for him. We have now seen Chris Eubank Jr. will return on pay-per-view against Marcus Morrison. What did you make of that?
Yeah, it's what it is, isn't it? You know, it's not Liam Williams and it's not Kell Brook. And that's no disrespect to Mark Morrison, but that's what it is.
Do you think if Liam can come through that fight with Demetrius Andre, big task to go to America and win the world title, but one that I'm sure he can do. Is that a possibility? Him and Chris Eubank Jr.
Look, I really fancy that fight. I really do fancy that fight, and what a great first defense it would be against Chris. Against Junior. It'd be an absolutely, you know, it'd be a perfect fight. I'd fancy him all day long against him. Yeah, that'd be a great fight for him.
Great,
but we wouldn't want to go through all those. But the good thing is, the sensible thing about it is I'd be dealing with Callie Salland rather than have to deal with many other Looney Tunes. So I'd be up for that.
Well, yeah, that would be a brilliant fight, and also could you imagine the build-up in that one with Liam and Chris?
Oh, I'll tell you what, that would be fun, wouldn't it? It would be fun, and it's a big fight. That's a big domestic fight. It's a big fight, that one.
Yeah, definitely. Frank, you know, we were mentioning Charles Franken, Levi Franken, etc. Obviously, Josh Franken is with Wayne. We know Ryan Garner's out that same gym as well. Has there been any updates on Ryan Garner?
Look, he's had a few problems, as you know, well-documented problems. He had the problems, didn't he, where he fainted at the weigh-in through weight loss, and that was his own fault because he was trying to get the weight off at the last minute. He's had a few problems outside, and I'm hearing good reports at the moment that he's training hard. And as I said to him, you know, I said to the team that I'm not going to. How many chances can you give somebody? You can only give them a certain amount of chances. Then at the end of the day, it's down to them to deliver. He's an exceptional young talent. But as I was saying earlier in our interview, I've seen a lot of fighters with talent. And if you haven't got the commitment and you haven't got the discipline, you get found out. And hopefully he's turned that corner now, and he's working hard. So I'm being told. And if that is the case, and if he's doing his weight correctly, I can't wait to see him out again. You know, as I say, he's a brilliant young talent, and I like him. But You can't let if he's not training right and he's not doing the right things, it would be wrong for us to even let him get into the ring.
Do you think he potentially could be one of the wasted talents, or the biggest wasted talents in British boxing, Frank?
Look, he has got tremendous potential. He's got tremendous potential to be an outstanding British boxer, and he's got a tremendous potential to be what you just said. And the only answer to it all is himself. He is the only one who can determine what his path's going to be. I can only help and advise him. But at the end of the day, he's the one who lives his life. You know, he don't sleep with me. He don't live in my house. You know, he's an adult and he needs to behave like an adult. And if he wants to be considered to be, you know, one of a guy that we all feel fulfill that potential, then there's only one way to do it, and that's called discipline, 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 and that's it. So it's in his hands. But I am there for him if he's 100%, do it all day long, because he is an exceptional young fighter. Yeah,
if you ask anyone in boxing who's seen Brian Garner spar or fight, they all say the same thing.
Great, and you know what? All those things are fantastic, and there's been a long line of those kids over the years. There's been a lot of them. Tony, going back to the old, you know, when I started out, Tony Collins, recently Mitchell Smith, a lot of them. I can name quite a few of them. Exceptional talents, and the reason they didn't fulfil their potential was down to what they did outside the ring, the way they lived.
Just before we close off, Frank, when are we going to get the May schedule?
We'll be. I really hope on Thursday we'll be in a position to announce Daniel's fight. Fingers crossed.
Okay, and potentially Sonny Edwards as well. Is that announced?
And that as well. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
All right. Anthony Yard, what's happening with him? Announced this week?
We'll be announcing him as well. We'll be announcing him. We got. I'm hoping he'll be out in April.
Okay, all right. So, when those announcements roll in, I'm sure we'll have another talk, but appreciate your time today, Frank.
Pleasure, mate. I'm sorry I messed you around, but thanks a lot, Umar, and you look after yourself, mate.
It's all good. It's all good. Tune in to BT Sport, obviously double header this weekend, and best of luck with everything this week, all right? Cheers.
Thanks, Umar. Cheers, mate. Thank you.